Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I am your humble host, Willie Bragg. And before we get started, let me just urge each and every one of you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that notification tab, that notification bell rather, so you're kept up to date with my program, and that'll be on YouTube, or follow me on Twitch, follow me on Facebook, and follow me as well on Twitter, where I'm at most of the time, 24 hours a day, whether I'm sleeping or not, whether I'm naughty or nice. Anyway, I hope each and every one of you are doing well. I'm going to have a discussion about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because I think it's time to have a frank discussion about her. It's not like I've never discussed AOC before, right? Yeah, sure. Well, we're going to discuss AOC more than we cared to discuss. Yeah, more than we've ever cared to discuss her right now, because it comes down to this. Many of us in our audience here, we adored her. We loved her when she was coming out of nowhere to challenge Joe Crowley, who was like second or third in line to Nancy Pelosi. None of us likes Nancy Pelosi, but we certainly didn't like any of her lieutenants. People like Joe Crowley. So it stood to reason that this this lovely woman who has some really badass politics. Well, on paper, she had badass politics. She was talking. They're not even all that radical what she was talking about. But the country's so far to the right that whatever she said was perceived as extremely radical. And so, things such as, free college and the healthcare and a Green New Deal. Oh my God. How in the world can she say these things in polite conversation? And, she was this, this little progressive left-wing David that defeated this corporate Democrat Goliath. I mean, she knocked him down with her measly $300,000, and he had something like a $30 million war chest back in 2018. And she scared the hell out of the corporate Democrats. She scared the hell out of the Republicans, and she gave people like myself a lot of hope. And she won easily. I mean, she almost, it was almost like she ran unopposed, and she won easily. And I was happy when she won. And other three members of what would become known as the squad. Well, they're the fraud squad, as far as I'm concerned these days. I could call them something else, but, we're trying to be polite. So the thing about it is that, again, with doing the sit-in in Nancy Pelosi's office, wonderful. Voting on the pay-go vote, wonderful, where she voted with Tulsi Gabbard and Ro Khanna, when both of them were a little bit better than they are now. They have fallen in their wayside too, in a lot of ways. I don't particularly like the politics of Ro Khanna these days, or Tulsi Gabbard, and I don't like where AOC is headed. So I'm kind of pissed off with a lot of people at the moment, politically speaking. So, the thing about it is she did a lot of grandstanding and all of that. And she was the public face of the squad for a while. And she really got Republicans convinced that we were going to have a Bolshevik revolution in the United States with people like AOC around and Bernie Sanders around. Oh no. Well, by the time the 2020 election was over, there was a narrowing in Congress, and the Democrats actually lost some seats in that election, but they sat a very narrow majority. There was something they could have done with healthcare. Again, my position on healthcare. I want I want it all. I want public health care. Public. I mean, absolutely no market mechanisms involved with our healthcare. The profit motive is destructive to healthcare in the United States. It needs to be totally eliminated. Yes, Medicare for all, like they do it in Canada, like they do it in France, like they do it in Sweden. That's a great beginning. It's a great beginning. And I could live with that. It would certainly make life a hell of a lot better than it is now. But that's not the end all. The way to do it is to do it like they do it in Great Britain, or the way that they do it in Cuba, or dare I say the way they did it in the Soviet Union. Not that I'm a tanky, but they weren't wrong on how they went about with healthcare in the Soviet Union or how they do it in Cuba. It's one of the areas where I do agree with them, that type of system. So, but we'll say Great Britain, just to keep the normies from going, oh my God. So the thing about it is, get the profit motive out of healthcare. That's what we needed to do. So but here in America, because the Overton window is so far to the right, the radical position is Medicare for all. Almost public option is a radical position. That's where we're at, folks. That is where we're at right now. So what happened with this leverage that was created? They came up with the idea. Well, DSA came up with the idea called Force to Vote back in 2019. Jimmy Dore decided that was a good idea. And I think people associate Force to Vote with Jimmy Dore. And for some reason, if Jimmy Dore is for it, oh, they're contrarian. Jimmy Dore is for it. I don't want anything to do with it. That's the attitude with a lot of these folks. So it's just kind of like, that's what it came down to. A lot of people hated Jimmy Dore. They associated Jimmy Dore with Force to Vote. And even if you hate Jimmy Dore, I mean, you know, to reject healthcare for everybody because you hate Jimmy Dore. Look, I don't like Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh ran around saying, "Oh, folks, I think that the Democrats need to waive their leverage and have Force to Vote, so Nancy Pelosi could call a vote on Medicare for all because America, we need Medicare for all. We need single payer health care." I mean, if Rush Limbaugh would have said that, I hate Rush Limbaugh. If he would have said that, I'd been like, "Hey, Rush, you're based." So, you know, I mean, I don't care who comes up with the idea. It was a damn good idea to do that. And I even heard fucking Vosh say, "Oh, once we get Biden in the White House, we're going to go and pressure Biden and pressure the Democrat leadership. The left is going to be in a position where they'll have to listen to us, and we will be there to get on their nerves and be in their faces, and they will have to capitulate and listen to our demands." Vosh, looks like you're wrong. But then again, aren't you always? So, thing about it is that they rejected Force to Vote. And what happened with this rejection of Force to Vote? Because Nancy Pelosi caught wind of this, she stripped AOC of her committee assignments. You know, so and I kept on hearing silly people like Nomiki Kuntz saying, "Well, Jimmy Dore prevented us from getting Medicare for all for about 15 or 20 years. He's the result of us not getting Medicare for all." Shut up, Nomiki. Anyway, no. Not doing anything about healthcare is what's going to keep us from not getting Medicare for all. That's what it comes down to. But they seem to think that by playing nice, in other words, just doing the same old, is what's going to get us that Medicare for all. It didn't work. You can't convince some of these folks of that, but it didn't work. And Jimmy Dore was right. We needed to do Force to Vote. I mean, I don't hate on Nina Turner like some on my little corner of the left per se, but I am disappointed that she didn't when she was asked about force of vote, she kind of danced around the issues. She had nothing to lose by saying, yeah, we're going to do force of vote. And because she needed to do that. I mean, she needed to be, that was part of her brand, to be brash and in their faces about it. And so she's been kind of a letdown. I still like Nina Turner, but but again, she's kind of a letdown too. But I think that eventually she will learn that the Democrats are a letdown in itself. And I think that Bernie Sanders realized that, but his pride. I mean, it's understandable. It's been tried many times before, from the days of the New Deal to now. That there's been opportunities to shift the Democrats to the left and turn it into some kind of Labor Party, and then somehow, just like an elastic band, it snaps back into being the conservative party it's always been. But let's get back to AOC for a moment. I'm tired of defending AOC. After force to vote, it was one more letdown after the other. One letdown after the other. And again, Amazon unionized, and she took credit for it when she had nothing to do with it. She'd rather dress up as a Chick-fil-A bag than to sit there and to hang out with union workers. And so, and I would have to say, the town hall meetings, the way she acted, so out of touch, and all the grandstanding she's done over the years, and then turn around and act like a corporate Democrat, and to be a doormat for, of all people, Nancy Pelosi. And they voted for Hakeem Jeffries, who's worse ideologically than Nancy Pelosi. Hakeem Jeffries is to the right of Nancy Pelosi. They didn't wage their leverage on Hakeem Jeffries. They didn't wage any demands on him. And so, and he's more corporate and more right-wing than Nancy Pelosi. And you know where I stand on Nancy Pelosi. I despise Nancy Pelosi. Maybe he's a nice person on a personal basis, but he's a piece of shit when it comes to policy. And that's what I care about, is the policy side of the equation. So AOC, she made a grandstanding how she supports the rail strikers. Now, say what you will about Bernie Sanders, and I got plenty of criticism about Bernie Sanders. I do. I mean, there's a part of me that still likes Bernie Sanders, even now. But I'm very critical of Bernie Sanders. But he did come up with a decent bill that would give the striking the rail workers sick leave time more than the bare minimum that they were going to settle for. That was rejected. And while they were rejecting the Sanders bill in the U.S., in the U.S. Senate, and voted for the bill to force these rail workers to go back to work to make the strike illegal, which I think they should just walk off the pit and picket anyway. What did AOC do after she makes her little grandstanding as usual? She goes around and, well, she sell out like she normally, like, she likes to do. Some people call it a Tuesday. I just call it being AOC. And I'm just so damn disappointed with her. I really am. I've lost my patience with her. Her telling people she's rude at these town meetings, with the giving money to Ukrainian Nazis. Just doing that sort of thing. Voting in a way on foreign policy that would have made a Bush-Cheney foreign policy neocon have an orgasm to vote in that direction. That is absolutely shameful. That's absolutely shameful that AOC would do these things. And so I try to give her critical support. And I admit that there was a part of me that felt sorry for her. And I I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker and I'm a sentimentalist. And yeah, here's the thing. I mean, just like AOC, I'm half Puerto Rican. So we're talking about blood here, even though I don't look it. And also I have a thing for brunettes. I have a thing for olive skin and brunette women, and AOC fits the bill, and she's beautiful to look at. So I admit that I objectify her for the longest time, and I was wrong to do so. I can't let beauty affect my judgment like this. If she looked like Tim Dillon in a dress, I would have been a hell of a lot more critical of her a year and a half ago. And I just know how I have to look at her. She politically looks like Tim Dillon in a dress. Not that there's anything wrong with Tim Dillon wearing a dress if he wants to wear a dress. If he wants to wear a dress, it's base. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But my point is that AOC is one perpetual disappointment. And so I can't critically support her anymore. I can't be a cheerleader for her. I stopped being a cheerleader for her. I can't critically support her anymore. She's no longer Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, she's now... as I said, she's not what I envisioned years ago. What I think she is now is essentially, I would like to call her Alexandria Ocasio-Pelosi, because that's what she is. I think we should all call her AOP from now on, Alexandria Ocasio-Pelosi, because she can pout all she wants when people are being mean to her. And yeah, there are people who are being mean to her that are pieces of shit. Marjorie Taylor Greene going after her and telling people rallies, I think that little communist should be locked up. Whatever. And stalking her and all of that, and going through her little mail slot, calling her a baby killer and shit like that. I mean, uncalled for. Or that perv named Alex Stein calling her a hot tamale, saying she's a baby killer and all this sort of thing. I mean, this kind of harassment. And while I thought Jimmy Dore was out of line almost 2 years ago, when he got mad about AOC doing this, rejecting the forced vote, he went, fuck you. I'm like, damn, Jimmy, do you really have to go there? No, he was right after all. He really was correct. He really was correct to express that kind of anger. I understood the anger. I had the empathy for it, but I thought it was a little over the board, just a little over the top. I thought it was a little bit mean, because, Jimmy Dore's not a mean-spirited person. We all know he's really nice, right? But but the thing about it is that if someone like AOP, and I think we should call her that, Alexandria Ocasio-Pelosi, because that's what she is. I mean, Nancy Pelosi was at one time a proponent of single-payer health care, and she goes and she knows how to go and make herself sound politically charged, polarizing, and progressive whenever she can, but then ends up being a corporate Democrat herself. Well, AOC, she's learned from the best, I guess. And of course, what does Nancy Pelosi do? She goes around to AOC and pecks at her like a mean school teacher at a second grade child. And I mean, and that bothers me. I mean, to see anybody humiliated. She went and did the right thing to vote against what's it called, the Iron Dome, and then Nancy Pelosi went and just pecked at her and gave her a what for, and then she went back and voted present and cried about it. I'm supposed to be impressed by her crying about it. She just shows she's spineless. She's a weakling, politically speaking. She can't fight her way politically out of a wet paper bag. I mean, it breaks my heart to say this. It breaks my heart to say this. I liked her. I find her likable. If she take the politics out of it, I think she'd be a likable person. But the politics, her hypocritical political stances is what kills me these days. I just can't support her anymore. And so, she doesn't make a difference. She's useless. She's not passed any bill. She's not done a damn thing. And the Republicans are stupid if they think that she's going to turn this country into what they think Marx was envisioning in the Communist Manifesto. I mean, if that's what they think, they're ridiculous. If they think that, but and even some of the corporate Democrats, like Abigail Spanberger, who sits there and lectures and say how horrible AOC is. No, the problem with AOC, she's too much like Abigail Spanberger of Virginia. She's too much like her. That's the problem with AOC. She's useless. And I've been hesitant for the longest time to be critical of her. And I've been deep down very critical of AOC. I joke about AOC and everything, and I make little jokes about her, cute jokes and everything like that. But I've been very critical of AOC deep down, and you're going to hear me be more vocal about AOC unless she changes real quick, unless she becomes politically what she was in 2018 when she was campaigning, and she actually scares the hell out of the establishment and tries doing what she's doing because she puts her best effort into fighting for things that she claims she cares about. Then I'll go and stop being so damn critical of her. But until then, AOC is now Alexandria Ocasio-Pelosi. AOC, I hope you're listening. You brought this on yourself. You did. So anyway, we have here on the chat line, and I needed to get that out of my chest. I really did. We have here on the chat line, let me scroll. All right, let me go right back up here. And we have Nikki. Hey, how are you today? And we have Les Bones. Hey, how are you doing? Let's see, and everybody's doing a lot of high and high back. Let's see here. You're not alone of those force of votes, are you? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Right-wing grifter. Nikki, I have a funny story for you. I have a friend from college that told me that a lot of the people from BreadTube that I listen to are grifters. And he started naming names of people that he thinks that I listen to on BreadTube. And they make six-figure incomes. He started mentioning names like Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske. He mentioned the Young Turks. He mentioned all of these names, and he lumped them all together. He mentioned all these names, and he mentioned you. He said radical leftist agenda, and I just thought, wow, okay. I have to tell her about that one of these days. So I'm telling you about that now. I hope you find that amusing. I thought it was amusing. But anyway, let's see. Willie is a doorknob. I think that's what Tim Black called Jimmy Dore fans, actually. Let's see. Love you, Willie. You're a great guy, too, Les Bones. Let's see. Can you do an AOC impression? She had to make a very high pitch and annoying, though. I have to pretend to be a sorority girl in college, a white sorority girl in college. Um, that's that's what I have to pretend to be. Let's see. Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty. I remember when he said that. I was just like, wow. Yeah, that was something. Yeah, that was funny, but it was kind of humiliating too. I mean, that she shouldn't have to gone through that. Let's see, AOP. Now I have no problem calling her AOP. Let's see. I like that. Yeah, yeah. Snipe Hunter, how the hell are you? Let's see. Snipe Hunter. All right. So, okay. Yeah, everybody. So anyway, I just wanted to get that out of my chest right now, and so I'm going to sign off in a little bit, but I will let y'all know that tomorrow afternoon at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be co-hosting What with Jimmy Sutherland on tomorrow on KRTD Media. Yeah, we'll be doing that from 1:00 p.m. to 4 Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 1 if you live on the West Coast. And if you live in the middle of the country, you do your homework and figure out the time there. Let's see, what else? Jimmy and I will be co-hosting the Willie Bragg Show. Same thing, once a month. We're going to try to negotiate a day that she and I are going to co-host together. We're going to do the same thing, same format as on What. We're going to share stories and videos and talk about our thoughts on whatever political issues come along, and that's what we're going to be doing, just as what was done on What. And on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be interviewing Uncle Warren from Extra Booyah or The Secret Show. And I'll be interviewing him at 7 p.m. It should last more or less an hour, and we'll talk and probably take the conversation from where I was interviewed recently on Extra Booyah. So there is that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's coming to my mind right now, and I can't remember offhand. So, but that's okay. Let me just conclude by saying, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. If you disagree with what I have to say, please state your thoughts in the comment section. We will have a conversation. Feel free to share any content I have on this channel for positive or nefarious purposes. Be sure to subscribe and follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. And remember to always reject corporate media because they have absolutely nothing of value to offer to any of us. And always seek a second opinion, a 20-second opinion, 444 opinions. Do what you can, because the narrative of corporate media is to dumb us all down, and Lord knows there's a lot of dumbing down in this country. Yes, it is. So and until next time, I will conclude by saying to y'all, music, and y'all take care. Bye-bye.